Hello, everyone. And you are with High Five Literacy today. My name is Faith Borkowski, and I am here with two of my very, very dear friends, Marsha Endy Baker and Jane Sorensen. Let me just give you a little bit of background about what they do. Marsha is a PA, that's a physician's assistant, and it happens to be Physician Assistants Day, which we did not even know. So I think that was meant to be that we would do this live today. Marsha has been helping people and saving lives for 35 years, Marsha?
35 years.
5 years as a PA. My friend Jane Sorensen is with EPIC, and that is an organization that helps children and families. And Jane last year not just won one award, but 2 awards, and was celebrated in her community in the Monticello School District as somebody also who changes lives and helps children and families. And I'm with these 2 awesome women, and I've only recently met up with them lately. Time gets in the way, life gets in the way, and we just met up recently in New York City, and it was a fabulous, fabulous meeting we had. But what was interesting was it started off with tears of joy, seeing each other, hugging each other, kissing each other, loving each other. And then, because when you're such good friends, these are deep friendships that you've had from years ago, you start letting loose, you start opening up. And I have to tell you, the things they told me, I did not know. And they are here to share some of their stories with you because they know that I work with children and families who have struggles because of their learning issues. Some have dyslexia, some have, ADHD and other learning issues. Some have a combination of both and other issues as well. And some are out there in gen ed classes that just struggle with some aspects of school. And one of the things that we're going to talk about today is how this leaves a long lasting effect on people way into adulthood. So I'm so happy to have them here with you today. They didn't have to do this, but they're here to really help you, help parents, help you to see so that you don't have to say, if only I would have known, which of course is the title of one of my books. And you really want to know ahead. So now you'll know. I'm going to start off focusing on Marsha. So, as I said, Marsha is a PA. She has this successful career. During COVID, she was out there traveling and saving lives, literally. And I looked at her in amazement, what she's able to do and what she does. And, one thing I wanted to bring out is these are 2 successful, beautiful women, amazing, strong women. But what you see might be just, what you're looking at now, but there's a story. Everybody has a story. So, Marsha, tell us a little bit about your journey.
All right. Started out strong, knew this was going to happen.
I know, tissues. This is.
First of all, I'm so glad to be here. So proud of both of you. And we're here to support Faith and in everything she does in helping children and families. So that's the main, that is the reason I'm here and Janie's here. So I don't have dyslexia, but I have test trauma, taking test disability, if you will. I'm not good at it. I've never been good at it. In high school, I was terrible at it. I'll let you talk about that, Faith. But so my particular journey Because of my test taking difficulties, I finally graduated college 6 years later. I will throw in there, which you didn't know. Well, you did know. I was asked to leave Oneonta State University because I just could. It was a huge university coming from a community college, and I could not figure out how to study on my own and comprehend. So I was asked to go home, and I had to go back to the community college while all my friends were graduating, tail between my legs, and you're gonna make me cry. And I went to night class with the adults because I was absolutely mortified. Picked up my grades, went to PA school, graduated PA school, which was everything was great. And then I moved to Florida for a better life for my children. And I needed to take my national certification exam because I was now working in a different state. Long story short, I was unable to study for this exam. It was a huge exam, very costly, almost $500 or so. And but I knew if I didn't take it, even if I didn't study, I would never be a PA. So my grandmother paid for it twice a year. And I took it. I did the best that I can, knowing I'm a terrible test taker to begin with. So I absolutely could not put the effort in because of personal issues I had. And I worked as a medical assistant, making way less money, less everything for years. And 8 times later, I had to take the test 8 times. I finally passed. They called me in to ask why they should give me the Florida license. I went and met with the board, the medical board, and told them my story, that I had things going on and I couldn't study, which made it even worse because I am not a test taker. I cannot comprehend any formalized written test to begin with. So this was just 10 times worse. I don't even know what possessed me to keep going, but I did. And I told them my story, and they all stood up, applauded me for my determination. We all hugged, and I finally passed my test. I did learn. I know I'm kind of all over the place.
No, you're not. You're doing fine. No, you're doing fine.
So the time I actually took it and passed, the personal issues went away, and I figured out a way that I can retain what I was studying, because it didn't make me not a good provider. I just couldn't give them what they wanted. I would read the question and read it 10 times, and each time it was a different way my brain was processing it. It was horrible.
So I'm going to stop you right there. So you told me in a conversation that what got you through this was quizzing yourself or people quizzing you. I don't recall which one.
Yes.
But
going over questions. For me,
Yes.
repetition, and the actual questions.
And if anybody knows me and has watched or read my blogs or watched me, I always talk about the power of repetition and practice. So, just the act of practicing the questions and getting familiar with the questions, that helps. And, there's actually research behind that low stakes testing, quizzing yourself or having people quiz you is a very powerful way to study. And then you said the other thing that got you through was going to the beach. So actually going to a different environment and changing your surroundings and being at peace, you could actually enjoy being outside and then studying. So those are 2 tips that I took away from you. I'm going to switch over to my friend Janie. I'm still going to call you Janie. I don't care if you're Jane now and grown up, but you're still Janie. So Janie, jump in because you have a compelling story as well. And we're going to talk about the two of them afterwards. But let me hear from you, Janie.
Okay, so first off, thank you, Faith, for getting this platform together today so that I can speak on behalf of the works that I do today, but more importantly, my challenges and my struggles and my journey through learning. So I'm grateful that I can share this out, and I hope that the takeaway is that parents that are listening will understand that we all have our own journey and how we obtain information through, the ways of how we could understand how to learn from day to day, may it be tactile, visual, or auditorial. But more importantly, my journey in learning was back when I first went off to kindergarten. I was in a public school setting, came from a very loving home, parents, large family, 5 siblings, and myself made it 6. So I was in a public setting, kindergarten went well. Then my father, who went to Catholic school, and he was a professional medical hand surgeon, wanted the best for his children and wanted to put us in parochial school. So he put me in a Lady of Solace in Coney Island, and I went to that school from 1st grade to 4th. And while I was there was a lot of trauma for me. There was capital punishment. If you wrote with your left hand, you got hit with the ruler. If you didn't listen, you got sent down to the principal, and they pretended there was a spanking machine and all that. And so I was terrified and really frightened to even learn. So I completely socially, emotionally shut down. I was labeled on all my report cards from grade 1st to 4th. Jane is such a lovely girl, but so shy. I'm far from shy, but back then I was, because I was daydreaming, looking out the window, trying to understand, the acceptance of schooling, let alone try to learn to write my own name. I remember very clearly in 1st grade, my sister, who is 2 years older than me, came home with an assignment and asked that I wrote my name 100 times, first and last name, because I didn't know how to write my name. And you know how the teacher found out that I didn't know how to write my name? When we were taking a test, there was a child next to me that had the same name twice, because my name was not there. So she was able to determine that Jane did not know how to write her name. But anyway, needless to say, I got left back in 1st grade. Back then, there wasn't an IEP or a 504. I wasn't being tested for any disabilities. I believe now as an adult that I did not have a disability. I was shut down because of the fear of being in a school setting that was so rigid and structured that it really shut me down emotionally, and I wasn't able to obtain any information. When I would open up a book, all I saw was a lot of words. Nothing made sense to me. I couldn't even read a full sentence, let alone comprehend anything. So by 4th grade, when I finished, my mom reached out to a very good friend of hers that worked for the Board of Education in New York, and she was able to get me into a public school. So I went back to the school that I went in kindergarten, and that's where I began to be in a one-to-one setting with a teacher to just understand where I was academically. I was not reading it even at 1st grade in 5th grade. So I managed to graduate 5th grade and off to 6th grade, and I went to junior high school 303. And that's where the light bulb turned on, because there was a lot of resources for students that were developmentally delayed in their learning ability. I didn't have the foundation early on, so I did not know what I was doing. And I was certainly afraid to share it with anyone because it would be so humiliating to let people know, friends know, that I couldn't read or write up until 5th grade.
Which I
Yeah.
want to stop you for 1 second. So this is what's so interesting to me. So anybody who is just joining us now, both of you had these bubbly, large personalities. Like I met you both in high school, and I was always like a serious cookie. Like I was definitely not bubbly for sure. But the two of you, no, it's true. But the two of you floated. You like floated through school, like really animated and bubbly, and never would I have ever suspected anything. Like, so like Janie, you were saying that you wouldn't want anybody to know anything. And so you had mentioned when we were all together how people would look on the boards at high school to see their Regents grades, and you would just die. You would just want to die and cover it up. And it was just so traumatic for you when everybody was looking to see their final grades or Regents grades. And I want to get that across that you too, you had that feeling. Now, thankfully, I didn't have those types of issues. As a matter of fact, I took school for granted in high school because I was like one of those people where things came easily for me, where I just could take off days from school and just show up for the test and be fine. That's not a good thing. I'm not proud of it at all. So there's my secret, right? Where I would just, say, I'm not going. I would just be able to jump back in and do just fine. But I could empathize now, having worked with kids in this situation and having family members who also struggled. So I get it. So
The parents struggle a lot too.
Say it again.
Like you mentioned earlier, Janie said it, the parents want the best for us and to do great. And sometimes they don't realize the reason you're not doing great is not because you don't want to or because you're lazy. There are reasons for it.
Yeah, exactly.
There was underlining reasons for me.
Right.
And for my delay. And so with that, I learned that I had a lot of challenges ahead of me to overcome this fear of letting anyone know, that I just could not manage. So, so Faith, I got to a point where my grades were just skyrocketing in junior high school. The light bulb turned on. I was feeling great. It was wonderful. I remember getting on the Arista list. That was a big to-do for me because I was a struggling failed student. And so once I graduated junior high school, my dad was like, great, Jane's on board. We're bringing her back to Catholic school. So I went to a all-girls Catholic school, St. Edmunds in Brooklyn, and I was flunking everywhere. It was to a point where I didn't even want to be alive at that point. I was just so depressed. I said to my mom, I don't think I'm going to ever manage. Now, just figure out, you put yourself in one setting where you're feeling that you're never going to be anything. You're never going to amount to anything. And then you find success academically. And then you're taken away from that and put back into that setting, that structural, rigid setting of Catholic school. Well, my mom got me out. She contacted her friend again from the Board of Ed. She knew personally Dr. Pollock, our principal. I got in that January. I went to Lincoln High School, and yes, I was struggling. I was a B- student, never good enough to go to a four-year college, which led me to a 2-year community college at Kingsborough. But I have to honestly say that when your child's in the wrong setting, and it might be a Montessori school district or parochial school district, and you see your child is not academically doing well, then you have to say as a parent, be active, be involved. Say, okay, what exactly is Jimmy not getting? And find the resources and get them out of that setting. So I had to experience as a parent that my own daughter, Jacqueline, was struggling academically because I put her into a Montessori school setting. It's like, go at your own pace. She went at her own pace. She was reading, she was at kindergarten, she was in second grade at kindergarten level learning, reading. So I had to take her out and put her in the public school setting. And almost as if I was healing the inner child in me that I had experienced, that I didn't want my daughter to have what I had. And now she is an early childhood kindergarten teacher working at Weehawken at Daniel Webster Elementary School in New Jersey, and she got a dual major in special ed. So I wanted to just share with you that my road and journey to learning never ever stopped, because I even got to heal as a kindergarten teacher. I never thought I would even be a teacher. I ended up going to Oneonta State University. I graduated with a 3.92 grade point average. I really brought my grade level up. I was able to learn how to understand the
So what did it?
fundamental.
So yes, give us specifics, because
Okay.
Marsha had the strategy of just testing and retesting and just, using the questions to help her. What helped you?
So I guess when I became a kindergarten teacher, I had to take the curriculum, the Becker curriculum, which was reading by phonics. And I was thrown in as not a parent, but as a teacher and as a learner to teach my students. And I was learning the fundamental early learning, basic sounding out letters and the phonics of itself, all while I was teaching it. I was saying, oh, wow, so this is how it goes.
So that's very interesting, because, I mention this all the time. The kids I work with, I also work with their parents. I work with their parents in how to help their children, but some of the parents have difficulties themselves. And so it's kind of like I'm helping both parent and child. And then they realize, so it's not that I was stupid. I was just not taught the right way. And here you are as this kindergarten teacher learning how to teach others to read, and it's making you more aware of your own learning. That's what I'm gathering from what.
Correct.
Right? So now, if, could both of you, I'm going to start with Marsha. Marsha, could you give people any type of advice? You are, like I said, anybody coming in, you are successful, you are a competent, highly competent person. What can you say? Because the test can hold you back. Anybody who came in late, Marsha took this PA test. She said twice a year. Obviously must have been for 4 years, taking this test 8 times before she passed this exam. And not because she didn't know what to do. It was the test that was holding her back. So any advice, Marsha, that you could give people?
Yes. So try and figure out what works for you, because what works for maybe the majority of people will not work for you. So before you start feeling like a failure, try and understand that your brain is just not working that way. So you just have to take a little extra time to see what works for you and try all different things. and it's going to take time. It'll take trial and error. Also surround yourself with people who support you and people who tell you you will do it. You are good enough. You got this. You just have to focus. Not people who tell you, yeah, you're not book material. You're not college material. You're not smart enough. You can't do this.
Did you get that message, Marsha? Were you told that at some point?
I did. I had great loving parents, but they didn't quite get it. I had some math tutoring and stuff, but they really didn't understand that I couldn't read the test questions properly, and I really needed to study 10 times more than the average person. And so, yeah, I felt I disappointed them because they felt, they're old school. So it was a disappointing thing for them. Why is she not passing? Why that? What's going on with her? She's lazy. She's gallivanting. She's not putting effort in. When I was putting 10 hours a day in, I was putting more effort in than they knew.
That's right. And interesting, parents need to know that this talk that they say becomes your self-talk. That recording that was playing became your self-talk, which is unbelievable to me that you had the tenacity to actually push your way through with that kind of talk going on and whatever else might have been going on in your life to say, I want this badly enough that I am going to push my way through it. How brave of you, and how unbelievable that is to me that you can do that.
Well, thank you. I don't see it that way. What I see, and for many, many, many years, it was a really bad, traumatic, horrible personal situation I was going through. And I had 2 young kids. So for me, I was determined to make a better life for my children. I could have went back to New York and not even dealt with this stupid national exam back in the day, but I didn't. I wanted them to be in Florida. I worked for a plastic surgeon for 17 years, who back in the day I wasn't his PA, and he was so kind to me, and I'm still best friends with him. I love him. And he was the one who said, you got this, and I need you as a PA. You will do this. Mm-hmm. And the most important thing, I wanted to save lives. This is what I do. This is why I'm here. I love helping people. So if I just knew if I could just get over this hump, then I can help people. That's what I'm put on this earth to do. And that was the only way I knew how to do it. So I really had no choice. There was nothing else that I would have wanted to do.
Yes, yes. So it's interesting, Jane. I think maybe, your situation is different, as you said. You had a different journey, but what was your self-talk? And where did that come from? Did you hear other people saying negative things, or was this all you imagining that you were stupid or didn't feel smart enough? Like, what was your self-talk?
Nobody ever told me that I wasn't capable, but I guess I carried and played the record over and over again that I would be this failed student because of my experience in Catholic school. And so with that, it wasn't until, and just to say, Marshall went to Oneonta and had to leave. I also went to Oneonta, and thanks to my best friend, I graduated.
Got kicked out.
Lori, she got me there, but I would have to go and see on campus a counselor to talk about test anxiety, because the test anxiety was so overwhelming for me that I would feel like I would be passing out, because I was like, it didn't matter how much I studied, how long I memorized those sentences to write in the report. I felt like I couldn't do it. So it took time until I was surrounded by good mentors. I had the support system at Oneonta State University. I have to thank my husband. He was there from the beginning until now. He's like, you can pass, you can do anything. You just put your mind to it. And he was
You're
there.
going to kill me, Janie, both of you.
I know when I said I was going to not cry, but I just remember I had to take a writing test, a math test. I just wanted that degree. I just had to prove to myself I was better than all these things that I thought of myself, this low self-esteem, this amount to nothing in this world. And I managed to do it. And now today, I'm so proud to say that I'm working in a career that I'm working with families and parents, and I'm navigating them to the right resources so that they can help their children be successful. And Tiny Town was born out of a love for our district to help our families with early intervention, and I spearheaded. So I feel, to me, it's come full circle.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely. Great.
I'm so grateful that I could, at this point in my life, I'm turning 60 in November, that I could share my secret here with amongst really special friends from high school, and not to be shamed or to feel a no self-worth, because I'm beyond that at this point. I guess the tears are because it hurts for so many years to hold this in and not be able to, get past it. But I challenged myself. I made sure I studied for hours. I got the special tutorial material I needed. The resources were there. They were available for me. And for any parent, if your child is struggling academically, don't stop. Bring them to their guidance counselor. Sit down with the administration. They're there to help assist you. You can help your child build
Sit
up
down and study with them, do questions with them, do whatever. And I think these are happy tears. These are, we did it tears.
I want to say one last thing. You mentioned a word, shame. Shame is really very powerful. Shame is the reason Marsha disappeared from my life. Like, I did not know what happened to Marsha. We were best of friends, and she told me later on, like, she didn't want to see people who were moving on, and she felt she was, either standing still or moving back. And so I really think that in listening to both of you, the message really is that kids carry this shame with them. Janie said she's going to be 60 years old. I know we're not far from that, Marsha. We're getting there. But the point is that, you carry this for years and years. It doesn't go away. And that we have to really make a point when we see a kid to try to save them. I wrote something that's on my ifonlybooks.com website. It's called Can You See Me? So both of you could take a look. It's a free document that I put up there for school districts to use. Janie, you might want to share it with Monticello School District and do a program with it.
Absolutely.
But it's about how kids carry this pain through the years and what it does to them and what can happen, this downward spiral that can happen. Both of you, thank God, found it in yourselves to have the strength to not let it just bring you down, and you both climbed the ladder of success in your careers. And I'm so proud of both of you. And I want to thank both of you for coming on. Is there any last words of wisdom you want to share before we sign off, either one of you?
Thank you for the platform and having us, and for all you do and your books and your work. And I'm just so proud of both of you, and I love you, and I'm so glad you're back in my life forever. Love you.
Janie,
And
any?
I would say the same goes here. Thank you, Faith, for giving us the opportunity to speak on behalf of the works that we do, the challenges that we've had in our life with our education. But, there was no mistake that I was chosen to go on this path to lead me to where I am today. And so I say to all your viewers, you have a child that is struggling, there's nothing like today. Act now, get them involved, get them the material that they need. Connect with Faith. She has these wonderful books that can help them get them to where they need to be. And most importantly, your child will succeed. So thank you so much.
Never give up.
Thank
I love you guys.
I love both of you, and thank you so much for really opening up and sharing with people your stories, because your story is sitting in somebody else. I know it. I know it. Somebody out there needs to hear it. And there's no accident that all of this came out the last time we saw each other. So thank you so much.
Love you. Love you both.
Love you. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye-bye.